What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.
Opinionated, outspoken, informative. The Jaguar Journal. Your source for the latest information on Southern University sports and SWAC athletics. A Baton Rouge sports talk tradition.
Bright and early on a Saturday morning, it is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. I am Perry White. Glad to have you guys up early on this Saturday with me. As you can hear, I'm in the studio. I'm not in Atlanta today. You know, the Southern Jaguars did not punch their ticket to the Celebration Bowl last week, falling short. I guess falling further than short. It wasn't short, nothing short about it at all. Falling a long way from going to Atlanta, going on the road last week to Jackson, Mississippi, and taking on Jackson State for the SWAC Championship. And we'll talk a lot more about that game as we recap the game, look ahead to today's big matchup in the Celebration Bowl, an FCS Top 25 matchup between the MEAC champ, Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference champion, South Carolina State versus the Southwestern Athletic Conference champion, Jackson State. Oh, man, should be a heck of a ball game. A lot of question marks, I guess, around that game as well, and we'll talk about that game also. So we'll recap the SWAC Championship. We'll look ahead towards the Celebration Bowl. And I got a great show lined up for you guys today. We'll have Southern University defensive coordinator, Coach Henry Miller, on at the 7:30 spot for the show, and then we'll have at 8 o'clock at the top of the hour Southern University offensive coordinator Mark Fredericks here on the show. So get a chance to talk to both the coordinators. We've heard from, of course, the man who leads the charge, Coach Terrence Graves, already here on this show, and now time to hear from the coordinators and, you know, reflect back on the season, the bright spots, the bad spots, what worked, what didn't work. What's recruiting looking like at this point, the transfer portal, and, you know, just this ever-changing landscape of college athletics, particularly here at Southern. Moving forward, now that we have put a cap on the fall, what's next? As we head into Christmas break, and then we'll come back on the other side, and it'll be the spring. And so those are the conversations we're going to have today, and, you know, just get their perspective on the season and just figure it out, you know, because the transfer portal is and has been active, right? I've seen Kobe Dillon, Southern University running back, has submitted his name into the transfer portal, and a couple of other guys, so, and that's what we're going to talk to them about. What does this look like as you have to replenish a roster going out for the high school recruiting? And speaking of high school recruiting, how about the Louisiana High School State Championship, football championships being played since Thursday, right? And one thing I love about high school football, particularly when it comes to small town USA, the little towns that, we all love the big cities. Well, everybody doesn't, but I can enjoy being in a place that has what they say, everything I need within a close proximity. But there's a large portion of America that we often forget that it's AKA small town USA. And I love it, especially when I get a chance as an official and I'm traveling and you get a real good look at it come playoffs. And I get a chance in the playoffs to travel throughout the state and go to these communities and realize how much these communities care about their football, how much football brings together these communities. Everybody's there. And when you can get a community behind a football team and that football team some type of way get past through the gauntlet of a Louisiana high school football season, a regular season, and inch their way through postseason and find themselves with a ticket punch to that dome. Because that's what it's all about, getting to the dome in Louisiana, right? Whether you're a football official or whether you're a football coach or whether you're a football player, everybody talks about the same thing, getting to the dome. And it's amazing when you get a chance to see those small towns following those 5 or 6 buses from wherever they from in the state of Louisiana, from the corner to the middle to the sides, it doesn't matter, and making their way down to New Orleans to represent their school in a state championship against probably, most likely, another small town community that you've never been to, you may have heard about, maybe 2 totally opposite ends of the state, right? Never been to your end of the state, they never been to your end of the state, and it's just, you get a chance to come together in New Orleans. Then, of course, you get the big city schools as well, right? And when I say big city schools, I'm talking about like the Donham of Baton Rouge, right? Like Etna Carr of New Orleans, right? Even Central. Shout out to Central. I had a game this year with Central and Zachary. Let me tell you, pouring down, raining, but Central defense is something different. If you haven't seen Central play this year, they hang their hat on their defense. That D-line is nasty. They get after you. And Central will be in the state championship today, taking on Ruston, who is a really good football team from North Louisiana. Once again, 2 communities, totally different opposite ends of the state. Then you look at Etna Carr taking on Alexandria. I had Alexandria this year. I officiated a game with them. They have a running back, I believe, that's committed to LSU. Listen, the kid is different. You know when you see something different on the field compared to everybody else. He is different. If I can recall, his number may have been number 5. The kid is flat out different. He asks for the contact. Come here, let me run into you. Let me run over you. And it's one of those, the whole stadium hears it as he continues trekking on to the end zone. But we'll talk a little bit more about that. Louisiana high school football state championships are underway. We'll talk football in terms of the Celebration Bowls, recap of the SWAC, and everything else. It's 7:15 a.m. You guys wake up, get your coffee. My man, hey, Kevin Walker, go get your coffee, baby. I don't know what you put in it, but but everybody else, get your coffee. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. It's the Jaguar Journal.
Quincy Richard as the quarterback. And Don, this is a man who's really changed his game from last season, and he's a graduate student as well.
Yes, he has, Bob. Quincy Richard has matured into the unquestioned leader of this Southern University offensive attack. 10 wins this season, and he set school marks for passing yards and touchdown passes. And Bobby's had a lot of help. Only 5 sacks on the season.
He earned his undergraduate degree back in August. He's taking some master's classes, and he wants to be a lawyer.
Here's Richard looking in the end zone. Has a man there. Touchdown, Southern University.
Play clock down to 3. Richard gets it off over the middle. Touchdown.
Holmes goes in motion and comes set on a 1st and 10. Richard completes it. That's Ard. Ard down the sideline. He could go. And finally pushed out of bounds. Richard's run for 10 touchdowns this season. He's going to keep it. Richard goes in. Make it 11 for Quincy Richard. Richard wide open. Touchdown, Chris Davis. Oh, does he love playing football even more now?
That in the flag against Grambling, holding on the kickoff.
Richard looking deep, and it's a touchdown.
But only 3 times did he go down. Twice he ran out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage. It goes down as a sack.
2nd and 8. The deep ball, and that's our man, Chris Davis, for the touchdown. Time for today's State Farm Players of the Game. And from Southern University, the quarterback, number 15, Quincy Richard. 34 of 42, 552 yards, 5 touchdown passes.
Quincy, on behalf of State Farm Insurance Companies, I want to present you with a trophy for the most outstanding player today. Congratulations.
All right, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. 7:17 a.m. Hope you guys are having a great Saturday morning. Shout out to everybody who are in the comment section this morning, as always. Appreciate you guys for supporting. Now, hey, everybody listen on 107.3 FM here across the Baton Rouge, capital city area. Good morning. The entire region, man. It's good to have you guys with us, and as well as everybody watching on our YouTube channel. Good morning. Glad to have you guys with us. Hit that subscribe button if you have not done so already, and everybody watching on the Facebook Live. Good to have you guys with us as well. We're all over the place, Facebook, YouTube, and right here on radio. So you can get us in a plethora of different ways, as they say, if you want to catch up with us at the Jaguar Journal. But always, if you never ever catch the show, the entire segment, or you have to cut it off and go somewhere and come back and you miss something, always be sure to head over. Know that you can head over to the Jaguar Journal YouTube channel, and then you go back and watch any episode, previous, current, whatever the case may be, all the way back for years, and as well as the different segments. My man Mike has been doing a great job at chopping up segments, putting them out there for you guys to get an opportunity to check those out if you want to. And then be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like and follow button on our Facebook page as well. And then all you got to do on radio is just turn to 107.3 FM every Saturday morning and turn it up just a little bit. So I don't want to be too loud in here, but just enough to get your day started as you get ready to get going. As I was talking about before the break, the Louisiana High School State Championship games being played down in New Orleans started out Thursday, going into yesterday, and then it'll be finishing up today. I'm looking forward to the matchups today. A lot of talent here in the state of Louisiana, and I have the privilege of where I get a chance to see it as a football official here. I'm a part of the Baton Rouge Association, so I cover a plethora of different areas. I'm using that word today, plethora, okay? I cover many different areas around the capital city area, the metro area, and I get a chance to see some really great talent in this area. And I tell people all the time, because they always ask me, I get questions from people out of state that ask about Louisiana. And I say, when I look at the athletes here, I don't compare to states like Texas and even Florida, right? Because when I just look at Texas as a whole, I look at the powerhouses and the amount of finance that goes into those programs. When I would say programs, I'm talking about the facilities and everything else that goes into a program. And those kids have an abundance of resources to go behind them, whether it's nutrition, whether it's weights, whether it's whatever the case may be. Those kids have, seems like sometimes, unlimited resources that go behind them in high school football in the state of Texas. Now, I get a chance to go around the state of Louisiana, and I see a lot of programs, or sometimes I see a lot of teams, not necessarily programs. I see teams, right? And these teams doing what they can with what they can. They don't have the big fancy facilities. They don't have the big fancy stadium. Hell, some of them may not even have turf. The vast majority of them don't have turf. You know, the weight room may be in the back of a gym. They don't have all the equipment outside to use as practice. But what I get a chance to tell them is, man, I see raw talent. Just raw talent with a ton of potential, which is why I think you get so many schools from across the nation that come in and recruit within the state of Louisiana. When you get schools that's looking all across the country to the state of Louisiana, you see why. The programs aren't necessarily, the programs of the century, where they just known for state championships. Hell, you can go find a team that probably went, 4-6 on the season and have 2-3 guys that are able to play FBS football. It's just like that around here. Just raw talent. And you see these guys, man, and all you could do is look at them and say, man, look, the potential in that kid, listen. The River Parish area, people talk about around right here in Baton Rouge. The New Orleans area. The middle of Louisiana. Check out Alexandria in the state championship today. Then North Louisiana, how about Ruston? Neville just got beat by Central. Those are mostly your programs when I'm talking about your Rustons, your Neville, right? Zachary, that's a program. But then you just get these teams, right? Well, they're not really known for making it deep into the playoffs. They're not known for contending for state championships. They're just teams that are on the schedule. They win here and there, but when you see these teams, you're like, dang, who is number 73? Man, who is number 6? 81, man, where is that kid going to school? I get the opportunity to see that a lot. And, and that's what I tell people all the time. You get just raw talent here in the state of Louisiana. And it's amazing to watch it because you're looking at the surroundings. You look at the lack of resources. And sometimes you look at the lack of community support. I will say Baton Rouge definitely has to do better when it comes to supporting its local high school football. And I'm not talking about the private schools, right? The UHAs, the Catholics, the Episcopal, and whatever of those other schools. I'm just talking about the everyday schools around here, the Bel Air, the Terras, the Astrumas. I can go on and on. Sometime I get those games, man. We'll be at Memorial Stadium. And I know everybody even talk about Capitol High. I don't be seeing the support for them kids like it's supposed to be. Some talent out there, I just don't be seeing the support. It'll be a game and it's 200 people at the game, if that. I've done games here in Baton Rouge where literally it was just the bands and the cheerleaders between two high schools and us on the field on a Friday night. Literally an empty stadium with the bands and the cheerleaders and maybe 5 parents. That's the other thing, the parent support. I'm big about that type of stuff. When I look into the stands and I want to know, man, are the parents here supporting these kids? Is the community here to support these kids? You know, I had an opportunity to work with Louisiana youth football this year. Shout out to my man Leroy. The support I see for those kids was that the South Baton Rouge, you got the Rams, you got the Jaguars, you had the Kings, some more teams out there. The Crimson Tide, the future, the little kids. Man, listen. An IPA announced for them this year. I had to hype the fans up, get them into it. Create some form of excitement into those games because, listen, I always talk about it. Them little kids need the support. Those coaches need the support. We got to support those young people. And that's when I talk about those small town USA places that support their teams, that when it's time to go to the Dome, the entire town closed down. Nobody's at work. Nobody's at home. Headed to New Orleans. But I would like to see more support, especially right here in Baton Rouge, because I see that a lot when I get these inner city schools. And I guess, the inner city schools, y'all know what I'm talking about. Don't nobody be there. Don't nobody be supporting them. Some more than others, but for the vast majority of them, man, nobody's out there supporting those kids, man. Putting resources to help those students and those coaches. That bothers me sometimes. And I guess I'm a little bothered by it today as I'm talking about these different teams and different places from around the state. And then, the first thing people say, well, we don't recruit. Well, I'm saying this about Southern. This is what people say about Southern. Well, they don't recruit the Baton Rouge area. And I'm going to ask the coaches today. Because I guess that notion, because students don't typically say, hey, I'm signing a scholarship or I want to go to Southern. And sometimes they just decide to maybe want to go somewhere else, that people take that and say, well, they're not recruiting Baton Rouge. I've even heard saying they're not recruiting New Orleans. I don't know how you don't recruit Louisiana, period, if you're coaching in the state of Louisiana. But that's why I'm going to have them on today. We're going to have Coach Henry Miller on here in just a minute. I'm going to get him on, and then we're going to have Coach Mark Frederick, both the defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator at Southern University. Hell of a season as the Jaguars came to an end last week in the SWAC Championship. To Jackson State, who punched their ticket to the Celebration Bowl. They'll be taking on South Carolina State today at 12 noon Central, 1 o'clock Eastern to kick off the Bowls season. The only FCS bowl game amongst all the FBS bowl games. Of course, the FCS playoffs are underway as well. I'll talk a little bit about that also because, I'm big about keeping up with the whole landscape, whether it's FCS, FBS, all of the above, just keeping us informed of what football is looking like out there on our level and on the big level. College football playoffs out. Hey, the Heisman. How about Travis Hunter? Former Jackson State wide receiver and DB, now over at Colorado, of course, following Coach Deion Sanders. Got his name called up. He is a Heisman finalist. How huge is that, considering his background of coming from the HBCU FCS space, particularly Jackson State? Whether people like it or not, you got to put the hate sometime aside and say, man, hell of a job of that kid coming from this space and then going to excel at the FBS level. Of course, he was a 5-star. He was the number 1 recruit in the nation. You kind of assumed at some point that he was going to live up to the hype, and he has. All right, that's enough of that. Let's get ready to take a break at 7:30. Come back on the other side. We'll continue the show. Y'all stay tuned. More to Jaguar Journal. It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe
to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
T.R. Ricks is a fifth-year senior who's getting his first chance to drive the train that Bob talked about. And right now, he's driving it quite well because the Southern Jaguars are kicking butt in the SWAC conference. As Bob mentioned, 6-0 overall in the SWAC, and T.R. Ricks has played so well, over 2,000 yards passing. In the last 3 games running the football, he's been over 100 yards on the ground. The respect factor that he gets from his teammates is incredible. As a fifth-year senior who's never started, they elected him captain. And the numbers he has put up are represented on your screen. 27 total touchdowns on the offense, a pass percentage of nearly 60%. He could be the SWAC Player of the Year on the offensive side.
Best, and they're going to get a huge dose of the best offensive player in the SWAC, and that being Thomas Ricks.
Yeah, what Thomas Ricks has found a way to do is just beat defenses either with his arm, with his feet, or with his leadership capabilities, finding a way to win the games late with fourth-quarter comebacks. He showed versatility and athleticism. He's a tremendous athlete that knows how to win, most importantly.
Really is a leader both on and off the field.
I just think it has come to a maturity level. I have a 4-year-old son, and, when he was born, I had to grow up fast, and, just staying in school and practicing every day, trying to get better every day, just so he can have a better future. It's just been my inspiration. So, I just think that's my motor that drives me and, keeps me in the game.
His 4-year-old son, Collier, has not missed a game this season. They throw the football around in Rick's dorm room at Southern, and he says it's great playing football with Collier. 1st and 10. Ricks. He's got Vernon. Vernon makes the catch at the 45.
They can run the entire offense with all those guys in the game.
Ricks to Vernon. 1st down. Holmes in the backfield. Ricks. 1st down. Gage on the tackle, but not until Ricks picks up the 1st down. 2nd and 7. Ricks. Overstreet's got it. Across midfield. Ricks has a receiver downfield. It's caught for a touchdown. Territory. Ricks fakes the pitch. Gets inside the 15.
He's in the type of young men that represent his philosophy in life and in football.
Ricks in a shotgun. He's going to run it out to the 10. And 2nd and 11 after the holding penalty. Sidearm toss. And a nice catch. Ricks on the 1st and 10. Little draw play. Takes it outside. He's got the 1st down.
But Ricks going to take it up the middle. On 2nd and goal and score the touchdown. Rise, and it'll get cloudy again. And under the sun, Ricks on 2nd down and goal holds on to it for a 2nd touchdown run.
Get open and make play. So that's good ball distribution. That's also passing. They're going for some more, G.
And they do get it. Touchdown, Southern. 3rd and 22 to Tom. Ricks. Pretty ball. 1st down. Back like you said, Jay, after the penalty. The blitz. Ricks got hit. Got rid of it. Touchdown, Southern. The 6th annual SWAC Championship. Southern.
All right, we're back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. Glad to have you guys with me this morning. 7:33 a.m. I'm still trying to wake up myself. Try to wake up Coach Henry Miller. Didn't get him on. We'll try to continue to push through as the show goes on. Southern University defensive coordinator, get him on here on the show. But let's do this, though, because we have an opportunity to do so. Let's recap last week's game against Southern and Jackson State for the SWAC Championship up in Jackson, Mississippi. Southern falls short in this one. Jackson State wins big. 41-13 was the final score as the Tigers of Jackson State won the SWAC Championship at home and sent Southern back to Baton Rouge. Jackson State moves on. Southern finishes the season at 8-5. Let's look at this ball game. Jackson State, 25 first downs in this ball game. They were 2 of 10 on 3rd downs, 385 total yards in this game, 110 yards passing, as well as 275 yards rushing. 8 penalties in this ball game for Jackson State. Also had 2 turnovers, both 2 interceptions in this ball game. On the other side for the Jaguars, 18 first downs. They went 6 of 17 on 3rd down and 1 of 1 on 4th downs. Total yards, 313 total yards of offense for the Jaguars in this one. 180 in the air, 133 on the ground. Southern, unfortunately, the turnover bug. 4 turnovers, 2 by way of fumble, 2 by way of interception. All right, let's look at the quarterback position, right? Jalen Woods did not start this ball game, had an opportunity to talk to the coaches beforehand that said Jalen Woods had not passed concussion protocol. Seems that he has suffered a concussion and had symptoms after the Bayou Classic. So for a lot of you guys out there that were asking and wanted to know, well, why did Jalen Woods get the start against Jackson State? That's what it was. He dressed out, but that was about it. Nothing else to it. Did not pass concussion protocol. Xavier Tissett then takes over. The hometown kid from Scotlandville takes over and starts this game. He goes 11 of 21 for 127 yards, no touchdowns, but he threw an interception. He also kept drives alive with his leg, and that's what we talked about, the dual threat ability of Xavier Tissett. 14 carries for 56 yards and a touchdown. Noah Biden also saw time late in this ball game as he went 4 of 13 for 53 yards and an interception also. Let's look at Kobe Dillon and Kendrick Grimes, the 1-2 running back. Kobe Dillon, 9 carries for 41 yards, and Kendrick Grimes, 6 carries for 31 yards, along with C.J. Russell, 5 carries for 15 yards. Jackson's defense did a pretty damn good job keeping Southern's run game in check. And then the leading receiver, Darren Morris, 6 receptions for 65 yards, followed up by Southern University tight end Dupree Fuller, 2 receptions for 42 yards. That's Southern's offense. On the other side, Jackson State, Jacobian Morgan got the start in this ball game. Of course, he had pretty much solidified himself as a Jackson State starting quarterback. He goes 2 of 4 for 35 yards and an interception. And one thing I will say, Southern's defense looked like they had the game plan to slow him down and keep him contained. But as Southern did just that, he got injured right before halftime, and they bring in Zy McDonald, who comes in. He's the third-string quarterback. He comes in and gives Jackson State the spark they needed. Southern was leading 10-3 before halftime. He comes into the ball game and gets it done with his legs, and just Southern had no answer for him. Zy McDonald finished today 6 of 11 for 75 yards passing, a touchdown and an interception, but he also included 8 carries for 95 yards rushing and a touchdown. Along to go with the SWAC Offensive Player of the Year, Irv Mulligan at the running back position, 23 carries, 116 yards rushing, and a touchdown. And then Travis Terrell Jr., SWAC Return Man of the Year, because he is dangerous. Agent Zero is what they should be calling me. Do not punt, kick, nothing to him. He had also 10 carries for 47 yards and a touchdown. And then you had Jamel Gardner Jr., 4 receptions for 71 yards. And then Fortillion, 2 receptions, 23 yards, and a touchdown as well. And then Robert McDaniel with 2 interceptions in this ball game. Listen, it was Jackson State. It was Jackson State in this ball game. Jackson State's defensive line is nasty. It's a brick wall. No doubt about it. It is a tough day going at them back to back to back to back, just running into that. They applied the pressure, but let me tell you something. Southern's defensive line. Kelby Givens is an absolute baller. I mean, the amount of pressure Givens was putting on Jacobian Morgan early in that game. And, of course, Kelby Givens is the co-defensive player of the year, which I still don't get that co-defensive player of the year. Just he was the defensive player of the year in the conference. The pressure that they were putting on the quarterback, Jacobian Morgan, Henry Miller and company had the recipe. It was just an extra ingredient was put in by Jackson State when Zy McDonald comes in, and he's a lot more athletic with his legs. Jacobian Morgan, don't get me wrong, is a dual threat quarterback. He can move around. But Zy just was a change of pace for them. He gave them the spark that they needed because Jackson, for a quarter and a half, did not look like the Jackson who had been putting the pressure on everybody. Now I look at Irv Mulligan. I look at Fortillion, Jacobian Morgan. I look at that entire, and then even that O-line, right? The O-line early on seemed to struggle. But nonetheless, I was quite impressed on how they were able to, how Southern's defense was able to early on apply the pressure to Jackson's offense. But Kelby Givens, he is a baller. Listen, the kid is an absolute beast on the field. And every time you look up, he's there. We good? All right. Without any further introduction, talking about Southern's defense, let's get the head man who calls the play. That's my man, Coach Henry Miller. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing?
Doing good, man. How about yourself?
Oh, man, I'm making it. One day at a time.
I'm glad I got you on. I was getting worried for a second. I said, God, dog, I should have sent
I got my grandbabies here, and I was looking forward to it. It distracted me for a few minutes. I was behind for a few minutes.
Ain't nothing wrong with the grandbabies, man. Listen, that's just you doing your part. Coach, let's jump right into it, man. Let's talk about the defense, right? Been the bright spot for this Southern team. I guess you can go back the past 3 years since you've touched down in Baton Rouge, and even when it seems like the offense has its struggles, Southern's defense has been right there holding it down. I got to ask, going back into last week quickly, the game plan that you had against Jackson State and Jacobian Morgan, it was working up until the injury of Jacobian Morgan as Zy McDonald comes in and changes the pace. But what was the game plan coming into that game that saw success early on for you guys?
Well, of course, we knew we had to stop the run, and that meaning number 5. You know, we know that he was the engine that got that car running. So we know that they was going to feed him the ball. So the plan was he gonna get his yards, but let him get 3 yards. Don't let him get 6 yards. You know, let him get 2 yards. Don't let him get 5 yards. That was our game plan. So if you get 30 carries and you get 115 yards, we'll live with that.
Then Zy McDonald comes in and changes the pace. You as a defensive coordinator had to be scratching your head as he goes down and scores on that first drive, gives them momentum, and then the first possession after halftime comes down and takes them down again. You looking at that, making an adjustment. What was going through your head, and what was the conversation amongst the staff as you guys then had to adjust on the fly?
Yeah, first let me say this, that not too often you knock the first 2 quarterbacks out of the game, and the third string quarterback come in and be a problem. I'm just going to say that, you know. But, of course, going into the game plan was number 5, the focus to stop the run, 15, throwing the ball, you know. So the game plan had to change when he got in, but then angles had to change. So when he got in before halftime, you know, first of all, I was trying to figure out how can we contain him because we didn't had enough time. We never saw him on tape. When you ever seen him on tape, it always was 15, 6, and even number 12. You know, so now based on what I saw on the field, I was trying to make the proper adjustment. But even in the second half, we took time to catch up with him because now the defensive lineman angles had to change. We were practicing taking one angle. Now we got to start practicing taking another angle. And that took time as the game went on.
You know, as the game goes on, you start to look at it. I got to ask about a guy like Kelby Givens, co-defensive player of the year. Just what is it like to be able to have that type of kid, that type of baller right there on that defense when you look around and you asking about leaders? He is that guy.
Well, he's the guy that come and say, hey, Coach, this is what we can do. Okay, let us do this and do that. Now we can do this. See, these guys not only are they good football players, they understand the scheme and they're smart. You know, so now that's how we was able to contain him after we figured out what he was trying to do. Those guys came to me and said, hey, Coach, let's do this like we did the last time against such and such.
And Darius Harris is another kid who has stepped up big for this team. You looking at this defense, man, you had to look back and say, you know, this is one of the top defenses in the SWAC. You're looking at Alabama State, Jackson State, Southern right there. Your philosophy coming into the season to get this defense as one of the top 3 within this conference?
Hey, you know, every year since I've been here, and especially this year, we preach one thing, G to G. And G to G is going good to great. And we just haven't made it to the great part of what I'm trying to get to, but we saw a lot of success. And we still going to be pushing for that. You know, you got to be willing to be great because good is not good enough. Once again, it shows.
Coach, can you hang on through a break for me?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do this. Let's take a break. We'll come back. I got my man, Coach Henry Miller, Southern University defensive coordinator here on the line with us. Let's take a break. We'll come back and continue this conversation. Stay tuned. More of the Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White. And what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
Talk about offense, we talk about Southern, and it begins with their passing game.
Tom, beyond potent, we're talking about high octane, we're talking about fast break, we're talking about 41 points a game, some 500-plus yards since Terrence Levy has taken over this offense.
Because that young man doesn't drop any ball.
With the legacy that you started here, you got to feel happy to see it continue on with Doug Williams.
Ball now back at the 22-yard line. Levy, no pressure at all. Touchdown, Ingram. The Bayou Classic. Levy on a first and goal play. Throws a touchdown. Grambling comes with a blitz. Levy steps in the pocket. And his pass is caught. One-handed grab.
Sort of in the middle of the road of the SWAC, but immediately they jump on the Jackson State defense. And here's Levy rolling out. And the pass is caught. Ball is at the 31-yard line. Again throwing the football downfield. Oh, and his receiver, Hayes makes the catch. See you later. Touchdown, Southern. If you're going to get, I got some free tickets. Look out for it, brother. Going downfield. Oh, and what a play by Southern.
Score. He's played a lot tougher ever since. And this is a free play for Southern.
2nd and 15.
It's a free play.
Levy completes his
pass.
It's
a free play.
Oh, and he's still up.
It's a free play.
Hayes is going to continue running inside the 10, the 5. Unbelievable Michael Hayes. 3rd down. And 23 for a first. Levy over the middle. Nice pass that time. 2nd and 20. Levy doesn't have to get it all, but he's going to have to pick up some yards. Here he is throwing. Nice catch made.
The receiver, Michael Hayes. There he goes.
Hayes makes the catch. Hayes still on his feet. Hayes looking for blocking. Hayes trying to find a hole. Hayes is still on his feet. He alley-oops. He's inside the 15 and drawn out a foul.
Touchdown.
The backfield. Plenty of time for Levy across the middle. Has his man at the 15. You know, I don't know if you want to break the spirit of Terrence Levy or not. Here he wings one wide open down the middle and a one-handed grab made.
The way. 3rd down and 4. And here's Lewis off the catch. Lewis still on his feet. And Lewis is streaking down the sideline. Touchdown. So they move back 5 yards.
Everybody, 7:47 a.m. here in the Baton Rouge capital city area. Good morning to everybody listening on 107.3 FM across the Baton Rouge capital city area. Everybody watching on our YouTube channel. Good morning to you guys, as well as everybody out there on our Facebook Live. Got a very special guest this morning, Southern University defensive coordinator, my man, Coach Henry Miller. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
All right, now, as we continue this conversation, Southern's defense in this past season, as we put a bow on it on last weekend in the SWAC Championship, ranked 3rd in the conference, giving up an average of 300 yards a game. And then when you look at the rush defense, Southern's rush defense ranked 5th in the conference, giving up an average of 148 yards a game. And then on the passing side, Southern's defense and pass defense, number 1 in the conference, giving up an average of 152 yards a game. You looking at your defense, man, the philosophy and everything else with the talent. Now, as we move forward into the spring, what are we losing? Anything that we're losing? Anybody talk to me about that, of whether it's graduation or the portal?
Well, and I'm gonna start with the graduation. You know, of course, you know we'll be losing Cotton and Willie Miles. You know, guys that interior that have been around here a while. That the scheme helped them be great football players. You know, well, good football players. You know, and they succeed at the end. So going forward, we have to be able to go in and get some guys inside tackles, you know, replace those guys. And since we have to replace them, now we can start building them, you know, getting a little bit more bigger, you know, a little bit more faster so they can be able to, you know, fill those gaps a little bit better. For us to transfer portal, you know, you never know how that go. You know, you don't know how that go until you go. You know, we would hope that everybody would come back. But you know how this world is built right now. You know, especially me. You know, it seems like every year I lose a player to the transfer portal, and not just a player, an important piece or players that was an important piece. So you have to learn how to keep adjusting. So you don't know what the kids are thinking. You know what you're trying to build, and if they, you want them to be around. But if they're not, then you got to be able to get in, find some players that can come and help you be successful.
What would be your biggest area of concern in the recruiting trail for you guys next year that you want to see beefed up?
Our defensive tackles.
Yeah.
I would like to see that get beefed up. I would like to get another rush in, to complement Kelby. Harry did a great job for us in a short period of time, and I'm looking for a guy that can bring that type of, competitiveness, understanding the role that he played. And, they got a lot of guys out there. We just got to find them.
And, I was talking about Louisiana high school football talent. I get this saying that people say all the time that you guys are not recruiting the Baton Rouge area, New Orleans area, and the Louisiana area. I'm talking to a coach, everybody, that can answer this. Are you guys, including yourself, recruiting the Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and the Louisiana?
I'm from New Orleans.
So you like, how dare you ask me that?
Why wouldn't I want to go back to my own backyard?
Yeah.
That's nonsense.
And I ask that because I hear that so much, and this is from the outside world, and this is why I like to have the opportunity to have the conversation with coaches. Okay,
so let me address that right quick. It's not that we are not recruiting, just recruiting that change. And a lot of good high school kids have been left out there in sort of sense because of the transfer portal. It doesn't mean that we're not recruiting them. It's just the process of recruiting change. You get the recruiting transfer portal, then you go back to the kid. Now, the flip side of that, when we do go get a kid, sometimes Southern will land a 3-star that we normally wouldn't get because of the change of recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
Those kids would normally go to a mid-level. They're not going no more because they dropped them, not Southern. Southern just coming back on the back end and picking them back up because you're still available.
And for you, you talk about developing those high school kids, and we've seen a lot where coaches these days are I guess, going more into the portal more so than getting those high school kids and developing. Do you enjoy the process of developing a young man? And for you, what are you looking more to, the portal or bringing in a high school kid?
Me personally, I prefer a high school kid. I just like developing kids. And basically, when you get a young kid and you develop them, like I had done with Kristen Davis and Rodney Johnson and Horatio Johnson, and those guys, you can see the growth. You can see each year, you can see the growth. When you get a transfer guy, they coming in already being coached, different stuff. So now you got to figure out, without changing all of their techniques, how to get their skills to fit what you're trying to do defensively. And that just would be the biggest change, whether a guy can make those adjustments because you've been used to doing something for a long time. Now, of course, saying, hey, in my scheme, I want you to do dot instead of B. And that could be problems sometimes. But for the most part, everybody would love to still recruit high school kids. But we just know that the way the world is built, 18-year-olds going against 23, 24-year-olds just ain't going to cut it.
And I want to give you your flowers while you're right here, man, because I think nonetheless, anybody who watches Southern football has to be impressed with what you see from Southern's defense. Southern's defense has kept them in games over the years. And the fact that, like you said, you work with what you have, you continue to develop, and you get out here. There's a reason why we have the SWAC Defensive Player of the Year in Kelby Givens. There's a reason why when you look – and did you feel slighted when you saw the all-SWAC selection? And it's like you're looking at your defense as the third best defense in the conference, and it's like, where are my guys at?
And yeah, I felt slighted. Not only that, even if you look at the FCS mark where these guys are ranked, they're number one in the tackle for loss. And I just don't get it. I don't understand. They're number 4 in pass defense. Something I just don't get it. But, like I told them, don't let that be the final decision. when people watch the games, they know that we had a good defense out there. So, whoever they chose, they chose. But that didn't put a damper in what we had accomplished here at Southern.
And, I like to have you stick around, Coach, because, man, look, you are a good dude, man. You stay out the way, but you get the work done. I know when it's really good, because when you throw them shades on, man, I know he in his zone when I see you with the shades. But I just wanted to give you flowers, man, because I think anybody who watches, once again, has to be impressed with this defense. Now, moving forward, 2025, right, we'll be looking at Southern starting the season off against North Carolina Central in the MEAC SWAC Challenge. I know that's a long way from now, but just as you build, your biggest emphasis going into the spring, or what you want to do to help enhance this defense to the next level?
We just want to figure out how we can get to the next step. So, we've been good for too long. We have to be great, and something is stopping us from being great. And when I mean being great, I mean taking advantage of moments like the SWAC Championship game. We should have won that game, but whatever it is, and not being able to contain the quarterback, the third-string quarterback for the first 4 or 5 series, I put that on me. So stuff like that ain't going to never happen again.
I like that,
So
Coach.
we're going to figure it out. I love my guys. I love what I stand for: play smart, play fast, play physical. These guys have been consistent year after year. The numbers will change, but the success stayed. So just trying to figure out how can we take it to the next step. Getting the right guys here, filling in your depth with defensive tackles, rush in, secondary, making sure guys understand the scheme, 100%. But it's time for us to be great.
I appreciate that, Coach, because you know what you just did? You had accountability. And I can appreciate accountability when the coach say it's on me. We got to get better. Thank you, Coach, for this morning, taking the time out, man, and being able to talk to me. That's the voice of Coach Henry Miller, Southern University defensive coordinator. Hey, appreciate you, Coach.
Okay, thank you. Anytime, my brother. Peace and love.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Peace and love. And, look, let's get ready to take a break. How long I got, Mike? I'm already past it. All right, when we come back on the other side, I'm about to have Coach Mark Frederick, Southern University offensive coordinator, going to have a conversation, talk about the other side of the ball. So you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. More of the Jaguar Journal.
Quarter with Jackson State leading 10-3. Ball is at the 31-yard line. Again throwing the football downfield. Oh, and his receiver Hayes makes the catch. See you later. Touchdown, Southern. And every time you think Southern struggles, they come back, they make a play. They've done it all year long. Kick is up. Kick is good. Second down and a yard to go. Again, they give it to Lewis. Lewis finds room. Lewis still on his feet. Lewis making a move to the outside. He's inside the 25, the 10, the 5. What a run by Ryan Lewis. 69-yard run for Ryan Lewis. And how about this? Kicks up. Kicks good. Halftime, George Johnson along with Charles Mann. Southern trailed in this football game 10-7. Then they reel off 14 straight points, and they do it with the big plays.
And that's something that we didn't think would happen, at least from Southern's perspective. They've been able to methodically go down the field on people and win ball games, not the big plays. You saw the big play by Ryan Lewis running 69 yards, the nice throw by Terrence Levy. This is something that I don't think Jackson State thought they would see in Southern either, and they go into halftime down by 7 points.
Jackson State came in the best defense out of the SWAC. And if you take a look at the highlights, you will see that this club, and I'm talking about Southern, was really able to capitalize on a couple of miscues, and the big plays are the result of it.
And this is Daniel Guy with a nice stiff arm to Bradley Pittman there. And he runs that ball 36 yards inside for a touchdown, makes it 7-3. And then Terrence Levy, quarterbacking, throws a big bomb to Michael Hayes, who gets by Rashard Anderson and waltzes into the end zone for a 69-yard reception. And then the big run by Ryan Lewis, a scat back for Southern, races 69 yards for the score And that's where it stands right now, 17-10. Southern is on top.
Passing leaders in the conference. Lionel Hayes from Grambling, your top passer. Washington second, but he's intercepted right there. This time the inside handoff.
And the ball was dropped to Tommy Head.
Here's Taylor in the pocket, looking downfield and looking for Leroy Fields, and this one looks intercepted, and it is.
He's played a lot tougher ever since. And this is a free play for Southern.
2nd and 15.
It's a free play.
Levy completes his
pass.
It's
a free play.
Oh, and he's still up.
It's a free play.
Hayes is going to continue running inside the 10, the 5. Unbelievable Michael Hayes. Hayes now with 187 yards receiving. 169-yard touchdown, 181-yard touchdown.
And Southern's came up with all the big plays.
They lead by 14. And that one is intercepted by Darden. Darden looking for some room, and Guyon will finally drag him down. But we start the 4th right after this. 2nd down and 20 after the penalty.
Oh, he's got a man wide open.
Going into the corner. Touchdown! Reynolds attempting the point after. It's good. A 32-yard field goal. Kick is up. Kick is good.
This is a great football game.
We knew it would be, though. Torrey Thigpen got us out of our seats.
And this is the punt return by Torrey Thigpen. We were just talking about, we haven't seen him. He breaks 2 tackles and runs up the sideline. He has great blocking, but gets pushed out of bounds on about the 1-yard line.
And touchdown Jackson State.
The game is a game of momentum swings. Snap is good. The kick is up.
On driver. Yes, sir.
The ball up to the big receiver, Michael Hayes. There he goes.
Hayes makes the catch. Hayes still on his feet. Hayes looking for blocking. Hayes trying to find a hole. Hayes is still on his feet. He alley-oops. He's inside the 15 and drawn out of bounds at the 10-yard line. An I formation. Oh! Fumble Levy. He kicks it and falls on top of it.
Touchdown.
All right, we're back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. 8:02 a.m. I'm Perry White. Good morning to everybody listening out there on 107.3 FM across the Baton Rouge capital city area and the region. Glad to have you guys with us. Everybody watching on our YouTube channel, good morning to you guys. Go hit that subscribe button as we continue to grow our Jaguar Journal community via YouTube. If you miss any of the previous episodes, you get a chance to go back and watch any of them live or any given time right there on our Jaguar Journal YouTube, and everybody watching across the various groups on our Facebook page, our Facebook Live. Good morning. Glad to have you guys with us. And someone else I'm glad to have here on the show is we already had defensive coordinator Coach Henry Miller, now Southern University offensive coordinator, my man Coach Mark Frederick. Good morning, Coach.
Perry, I'm still getting the commercial.
There you go. Mike, gonna get you straight. You good now?
Okay, I'm good.
There we go. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. How about yourself?
I can't complain.
Good to have you on, man. We put a bow on the season last week. We fall short, of course, to Jackson State. But we look back at the season, man. Your first year as the offensive coordinator at Southern, you know, I always ask coaches after the season, for you, before we dive into things, man, just being back at Southern, and what did you learn after year one being back at home as the offensive coordinator at Southern University?
Patience. I learned you got to have a lot of patience, man. The season didn't go as the way we wanted it, but got a young team, very young team, a lot of guys coming back, so they got some good playing experience, and we'll be ready to go next year.
Talking about that patience, I think Jaguar fans had to learn it as well throughout the season, looking at Southern having to go through all 3 quarterbacks throughout the year. And let's look at Southern's offense as it ranked against the rest of the schools right in the conference, right? Southern's offense, 4th in offense, averaging 364 yards a game in offense. When you look at Southern and running the ball, Southern was ranked 5th on the season, averaging 156 yards on the ground on the season with 16 touchdowns. And then when you look at passing, Southern right there in the top 5, 4th in passing, on the season with 15 touchdowns and averaging 207 yards a game. Let's start with the quarterback room with you, Coach Mark. Looking at Noah Biden, who I've just seen put his name in the transfer portal, Xavier Tissett, the hometown kid from right there in Scotlandville, and then you look at Jalen Woods, who emerged at the end of the season and pretty much started to seem like he was starting to take over this offense, the Georgia kid. Looking at those guys, man, and as you started in fall camp and going through the season, just what seemed to be the deal with the quarterback room and looking at each one of those quarterbacks and their skill set?
Man, I was excited. You had a kid like Noah. You know, he had a little game experience, not a lot. So he had the kind of like experience edge. You had a talented guy in T-set, a dual threat quarterback, could run and pass. Then you had a kid like Jalen Woods, man, just smart. You know, he's always trying to get better. You know, some would call him a pocket passer. But, you know, all three of them did a good job for us when they could. We had some growing pains with them, and unfortunately, you know, Northern got in the portal. So that leaves T-set and Jalen coming back. It should be an interesting spring to see, you know, them guys grow and continue to get better. And, you know, we got to get some good continuity, you know, between the quarterbacks and receivers. So it's going to be an interesting spring. We're going to add some pieces. So I'm excited about it.
For you as an offensive coordinator and you look at your quarterback room, what do you want as Coach Mark Frederick, as the offensive coordinator, out of your quarterbacks?
I want a guy to be efficient and lead the offense. You know, I wouldn't mind throwing the ball 50 times a game as long as we complete those passes. You know, but if the defense give us the run, then we got to run the ball. I want an efficient quarterback to lead the offense the way it should be led. And, you know, that's the challenge to them guys. You know, somebody got to take the leadership role and be able to take us where we want to go.
What was the conversations like as the season go on? Of course, we started out with Noah Biden. You talk about the guy with the most experience. Then we knew T-set with his dual threat ability with his legs and his arm. And then it was just kind of like Jalen Woods sitting behind everybody. But you didn't have a problem going through that quarterback room, and I think that was the issue a lot of Jaguar fans had with the former offensive coordinator and head coach Eric Dooley, sticking with a guy and not giving other guys an opportunity. But what was that conversation like week in and week out when you decided to sit down with everybody and say, all right, look, we're going to make a change this week?
It was up and down, Perry. You know, it was up and down, man. To sit there and watch one guy come out and perform one week and then the next week struggle, then the next guy come in and then he take off, and then the following week he struggled. So it was just too much inconsistency. And you got to be consistent at that quarterback spot. And, you know, that's a huge ask to, you know, a guy like a redshirt freshman who hadn't played. The defense is doing different things to him, kind of, you know, trick him up a little bit. But you gotta watch a lot of film. You got to keep, you know, preparing yourself. And, you know, sometimes they get you, sometimes you get them. But it's a learning experience for them. So we shouldn't have them problems next year.
So now I move to the running back position. Of course, I just saw Kobe Dillon has put his name into the transfer portal. And I got to just be real, Coach, because this is – and I'm speaking on behalf of the fan base. That way they can hear from you and they can have an understanding about it. There would seem to be some form of criticism towards the run game of Southern University. What would you say towards any criticism in terms of the run game and the schemes that you guys used this year?
We use the schemes that work for us. You don't see everybody running the triple option. Army and Navy run the triple option. So we do what we feel that is best for us and our kids to be successful. And, you know, Coach Gray says it all the time. We're going to do what we do best, and what we don't do, you know, we're not going to mess with it a lot. So, you know, we ran the power and we ran inside zone. And those two things that we hung our hat on, regardless of how we got to it, those were two of our best schemes this year. The guys could execute it, and that's what we stuck with. And as far as the run game goes, if you want to play for championships, you got to be able to run the football. So that's what we did. And you take a lot of pressure off a freshman quarterback, you know, not asking him to do a lot, not to win the game. trying to throw the football.
Was there any slight when you heard Jackson State's defensive coordinator when they asked him about Southern's offense and he was like, not really? Was there any slight towards that, or was that something you just ignored?
Some of the guys told me about it. You know, I kind of like give up social media during the season. I don't really get on there because, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, for him to make a statement like that, hey, that's him and his, you know, that's how he felt. But, you know, we felt that we had a good game plan and we went in and we exposed some stuff on them. We just missed a few plays here and there, but if we'd have executed the way we were supposed to be, I feel like we would be in Atlanta today. But, hey, it didn't fall that way.
And you look at this offense and did a lot of what you wanted out of the run game to go back heavily to the run game. Was that due to, as you said, the inconsistency that you saw at the quarterback position throughout the year?
Well, Jalen Woods had came on. He had started, I think, the last 2 games and played in the one before that. And to find out, you know, after the Bayou Classic that, hey, we might not have Jalen, now you got to go back with the other 2 guys. So kind of like, you know what I'm saying, hey, the game plan got to change a little bit, you know, to fit to those guys. So going into the championship game, we thought we was going to have Jalen, but after we didn't, you know, we just had to roll with what we had. And the game plan, I thought we had a good game plan for T-Set to use his legs and to use his throwing ability. So we went with what we had, and we gave it our best.
You know, and I must say I was critical of this offensive line to start the season, especially Coach Damon Nivens. But the adjustments were made. You guys started to rotate guys. Talk about the growth of the offensive line from what we saw at the beginning of the season compared to as the season began to progress and you guys worked around with that roster and said, you know what, let's give some of these young guys an opportunity.
Yeah, man. Hats off to Coach Nivens. We had some older guys on the O-line. We only had 1 returning starter. So we was trying to find that right 5 to play together. And eventually it ended up being a lot of young guys, a freshman, a redshirt freshman, a sophomore, stuff like that. So once we found the right fit, you know, we started rotating guys in, and them guys got used to each other. And to be honest with you, I think we finished like top 3 in the conference in sacks allowed. So, you know, that was a huge difference from the beginning of the season to the end. And we went from not being able to run the ball to averaging over 150 yards a game rushing.
Yeah, because it seemed earlier this year, man, look, I was on here like Southern can't get 100 yards rushing. That was going on, but you guys made the change, and I think that transition we started to see at that Prairie View game. Then after Prairie View, we just started to see it was like it started to grow and grow and grow throughout the year. And something else that I liked it, particularly the tight ends. You look at Jermaine Minor, and then you look at Dupree Fuller. Now, we never did get a chance to see Ethan Howard. Is that somebody who will still be sticking around, or is that pretty much it with Ethan Howard?
It was some NCAA issues there. You know, we couldn't control that. But hopefully, you know, coming up, he get everything straight and he'll be able to help us in the future. But that tight end room is talented, man. Them guys, hey, they're a threat in the passing game and they can help you in the run game. So the sky's the limit for them. I just look for them to get better as they come back.
Let's do this. Are you able to hold on through a break for me right quick?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's get ready to take a break real quick. Mike, cue us up. Hey, everybody, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to the voice of Southern University offensive coordinator Mark Frederick. Of course, I'm Perry White. You're listening to the Jaguar Journal right here on 107.3 FM. Good morning to everybody that are listening live on our YouTube and Facebook and everybody listening out there on the radio waves. Man, we're about to get ready to take a break. We'll come back and continue the conversation with Coach Mark Frederick as we talk Southern University offense. You guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. More of the Jaguar Journal.
Quincy Richard is the quarterback. And Don, this is a man who's really changed his game from last season, and he's a graduate student as well.
Yes, he has, Bob. Quincy Richard has matured into the unquestioned leader of this Southern University offensive attack. 10 wins this season, and he set school marks for passing yards and touchdown passes. And Bobby's had a lot of help. Only 5 sacks on the season.
He earned his undergraduate degree back in August. He's taking some master's classes, and he wants to be a lawyer.
Here's Richard looking in the end zone. Has a man there. Touchdown, Southern University.
Play clock down to 3. Richard gets it off over the middle. Touchdown!
Holmes goes in motion and comes set on a 1st and 10. Richard completes it. That's Ard. Ard down the sideline. He could go. And finally pushed out of bounds. Richard's run for 10 touchdowns this season. He's going to keep it. Richard goes in. Make it 11 for Quincy Richard. Richard wide open. Touchdown, Chris Davis. Oh, does he love playing football even more now?
That in the flag against Grambling, holding on the kickoff.
Richard looking deep, and it's a touchdown.
But only 3 times did he go down. Twice he ran out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage. It goes down as a sack.
2nd and 8. The deep ball, and that's our man, Chris Davis, for the touchdown. Time for today's State Farm Players of the Game. And from Southern University, the quarterback, number 15, Quincy Richard, 34 of 42, 552 yards, 5 touchdown passes.
Quincy, on behalf of State Farm Insurance Companies, I want to present you with a trophy for the most outstanding player today. Congratulations.
All right, we're back. It is the Jaguars Journal. Good morning, everybody. I'm Perry White. Everybody listening out there on 107.3 FM around the Baton Rouge capital city area. Everybody on our YouTube channel, go hit that subscribe button. Become a subscriber today. Don't need anything from you, just your love and support. And everybody watching on our Facebook, go hit that like and follow button. Good morning to our guest right here, Mark Frederick. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. Good morning, Perry.
Man, good to have you on as we continue to talk Southern University offense. This is the offensive coordinator at Southern University, and we had somebody. There we go. We got somebody who wants to ask a question. Now, you know this is a call-in show, and so let's go to the phone lines. I think we got William. Good morning, William.
Good morning, Perry. I just had a few questions on some players I wanted to ask Coach Frederick about. The first name is the tight end we signed out of St. Aug last year. I wanted to find out whether he was still in school or not. His name is Hubert Calise, and
yes,
will he also go ahead?
I'm sorry, but yes, he's in school. And if I don't know if we just do it like this, but he was an academic redshirt. He couldn't play this year. He could practice, but he couldn't play.
Okay, so we expect him to play next year.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The other 2 players is Kobe Brown. I really like how he looked, the freshman out of St. James Parish, and the other player was Jason Gabriel, the running back out of John Curtis. Will you talk about those 2 guys? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, William.
All right. Two special guys in this program. If you let me tell it, I wish I could have played them more this year. Kobe actually ended up playing a lot for us later in the season. Should be a projected starter coming back as long as he keep improving. But I love his game. I love his upside. He don't say nothing. All he do is come to work. He come to work, get better, and then he had some production. He caught a couple passes in the championship game as a true freshman. So the lights don't get too big for him, and that's what you like to see. As far as Jason Gabriel goes, he was just in a loaded backfield. I got him some playing time, when it permitted it, but I didn't want to lose his red shirt. behind a guy like Kendrick Grimes, Kobe Dillon, and C.J. Russell. So the future is bright for both of those young men. I expect a lot out of them. I expect a lot out of them coming back.
You know who kind of disappeared? Quay Davis. What was the status with Quay, if I can ask?
It was some personal issues. Him and Coach Graves met. Well, we all met, and it was, it was in the best interest for him to step away from the team to deal with the stuff he was dealing with. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I look around and I had to ask Coach Miller this same thing because I get it so much with this conversation that people say Southern don't be recruiting the Baton Rouge area. Southern don't be recruiting the New Orleans area. Southern don't really be around Louisiana. And I always say I got to ask the coaches so you can hear directly from them because you'll have other people controlling the narratives. But because I do have you on and people care, it seems so much about the local talent and within the region, your recruiting philosophy when it comes to the local and regional talent.
We're recruiting locally. I think every home game, we was out at every game that we could get to, everybody that had a local game. We want guys that want us. We're going to recruit everybody, but I can't make a guy stay in Baton Rouge that's telling me, hey, Coach, I got to get away. So if a guy don't want to be here, you really kind of, you messing up your deal trying to force him to stay. So we've already signed a running back from Southern Lab. He will be enrolling early. We got a couple of more guys committed. I can't really speak on them because of reasons, but yes, we are going to recruit local. We're going to recruit the River Parish, New Orleans. I'm getting ready to head back down to the state championship games as we speak. We've been down there the last 2 days, and it got some talent in the state, and we're trying our best to get them guys.
And that's the type of conversation I like to have publicly so people can be able to have that understanding to hear it from the coaches. So you just won't be hearing that folks are yelling that out and having that type of mindset out there. Now, looking forward, what are we losing offensively, whether it's graduation or the transfer portal currently?
To tell you, we had a young offense. A lot of people, but hey, we only had one returning starter on the O-line, okay? So we only lose one guy there that actually started. We had two senior running backs, Kendrick Grimes and CJ. We lose them two. Kobe got in the portal, fine. All right? We only lose one receiver, Chandler Winfield. That's it. Everything else come back. So I'm excited. We done set the foundation. We done set something to build on. And now we got to move forward in the recruiting. And I think we're doing a good job with that. And we're going to have this offense ready to go in 2025.
And you're talking about moving forward with recruiting. The same thing I asked Coach Miller as you look at your big board and you say room, where the biggest emphasis of terms of what you want to see improve next year, what do you circle?
We're going to circle the quarterback room and the O-line room.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna be very aggressive and recruiting some bigger, more aggressive O-linemen. I think when I got here, I told you we was going to address the O-line issue. I think we did that, midway of the season. Some guys showed some other stuff, but we still got to get some more guys to go with them. So we got to improve that room. The quarterback room, it has to improve, point blank, period. And I think once we improve those two areas, we'll be better.
Looking around this conference, you're talking about quarterbacks. Seem to be a down year for quarterbacks in this conference, aside from Daniel Richardson over at Florida A&M. You throw in Jacoby and Morgan from Jackson State. But then I look at Zy McDonald, their backup, comes in and finds a way to do it with his legs. Cameron McCoy, their second-string quarterback, a kid able to do it with his legs. But looking around the conference, and then even at UAPB, Mekhi Hagan, who, to get 2,500 passing yards at UAPB with that pretty bad offensive line and with a pretty good receiver in Javonte Gibson, I thought was pretty good. But quarterback play seemed to have been down this year across the conference. And even looking at Miles Crowley, who was the preseason SWAC Offensive Player of the Year up at Grambling, he didn't quite live up to the offensive expectations and production from the quarterback position. What are your thoughts in terms of quarterbacks in this league and what seems to be the issue with high-caliber quarterback play in this league?
I don't know if it's an issue with high quality, quarterback play. The issue probably is guys are not getting an opportunity to grow. You take a Daniel Richardson, transfer. You take a Jacobian Morgan, transfer. McCoy, transfer. All of them guys you just talked about are transfers. So you take, and I'm going to just use my guys for example. You got a T-Set and you got a Woods, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both of those guys are redshirt freshmen who had never played a game, who had never took a snap in a college football game. So the growing pains were tough. You was frustrated, you was mad, but you had to love them up and keep on loving them up and getting them ready for the next play, because you can't have a play. You can't have a mindset of, oh man, look what you did on this play. You got to get them ready for the next play. And I think them two guys did a great job of understanding what we was trying to get accomplished. And, they took the reins and went with it. So year 2 should be even better for them because they got a year under their belt now. So Daniel Richardson, not taking anything away from him, he's transferred in from one of the Florida schools, had already thrown for over, 8,000 yards, I think, or 10,000 yards. You had Jacobian Morgan, I think he a Syracuse transfer.
Mm-hmm.
So, them guys came in with experience, and we took young guys and got to the championship game. Now we need to get over that hump. Now we need to win the championship game. Now it's time to start dominating our opponents. So, yes, it's growing pains. Trust me, I was frustrated, but hey, I knew I had some good clay to work with.
Yeah.
And, we took the time and we trying to mold them guys into become those guys. So that's where we at with that position.
Hey, Coach, I got somebody else that's calling in, another caller. You want to take one?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, let's go to the phone line. Good morning, CJ. Is CJ?
Yeah, this is CJ Perry. How you doing?
Doing real good, CJ. I got like a minute. Go ahead.
Okay, look, Coach, I just want you to talk about the speed of the game. Look like on offense, we may have some good, talented people, but what I recognize is the speed of our receivers, the speed of the game as it relates to offensive linemen. It just wasn't like clicking, it just didn't have it. Did you see the same thing, or is it something I'm missing here? Because either the backs didn't have enough time, enough speed to bust a hole or whatever. But can you just talk about what you're going to do as far as addressing the speed of the game from our perspective? And thank you very much for coming on the show.
All right, thank you,
Okay.
CJ.
Mm-hmm. Of course, man. Speed kills. That's what they say. So, I'm not using it as a black eye. Kobe Dillon broke loose in the Bayou Classic. He ended up getting caught. If there was a faster guy like Ryan's, it's a touchdown. So, yes, we got to recruit some more speed. We got to get some guys that are faster. But as far as the O-line going, I'm not sure exactly how fast they need to play, but, I kind of understand what you're saying. But when you get guys that had never played together, it's some unsurety there, some uncertainty. And, guys didn't I need to know what step you're going to make. I need to know where you're going to be on this play and stuff like that. So once they got playing time together, and they got continuity, I think they improved a lot. So, yes, we got to keep improving. And the offseason going to be huge. Guys got to get bigger, faster, and stronger. So that's where that come into play at as well.
You talking about guys getting bigger, faster, and stronger, and then increasing the speed. I'm looking at those backs, right? We light, and I know we talked about that big bruiser. I know you out there, you trying to find that big bruiser somewhere.
I'm looking for a bruiser, but I'm also looking for a game changer. I'm looking for a guy that can take it 80. So the phone lines are open, man. Hey, we're recruiting them. I want some home run hitters, but it come a time to point in the game you got to roll your sleeve up, and I need that big back to come down here and close the game out, or somebody to get us those short yardage situations.
You look at a guy like Irv Mulligan, of course, SWAC Offensive Player of the Year over at Jackson State, man. I mean, that kid's in the weight room, just the tackles. He was carrying guys and everything else, but then he's the bruiser. But then you look at the speedster, Travis Terrell Jr., who can kill you in the return game and in open space. You look at those type of guys, man. For you on the other side, I bet you like, damn, that's some talent right there.
That's a good 1-2 punch, and that's all you got to try to get to, man. You got to have somebody that can bruise you up, that the defense don't like to hit, and then you got a guy that come in and change the pace. You look up, and he done took a 70 on you. So yes, everybody wants the same thing. It's just you got to get out and get them. You got to hustle. You got to recruit. You got to convince them guys to come and play for you.
Looking into the spring and as we move forward, you talk about that transfer portal. Would you rather that transfer portal, which it seems the world that we live in today, the plug and play, or the young guy coming in out of high school that you develop up? Because, you know, that question was asked to Coach Terrence Graves looking at Giovanni Gibson coming from right up the road, right? And it was just like, how does a kid like that lead the state of Louisiana and go and become one of the top FCS receivers in the country, go D2, and then go to UAPB? And it's like, how does he get past you? When you look at talent like that, are you looking to develop those guys, and sometimes you get those diamonds in the roughs, or are you looking at that transfer portal?
You got to look at both. You take a guy like Kobe Brown, who y'all just mentioned early on the show, from right there in St. James, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a true freshman. You got to give him time to grow and develop. So do I kick him to the curb and go get a 5-star that everybody say we trying to get, you know, out of the portal or this or that? You can't get rid of a guy like that because he probably should have been a 4 or 5-star the way he played as a true freshman. So you got to give guys chances, you know, to grow and develop within your system. And now if it's an immediate need that we just got to fix, yes, we're going to go in the portal and try to get the best available guys to fit our program. Just because he can play, that doesn't mean he can play for us. He might not want to go to class, and we're not going to put up with stuff like that.
I understand that. That's the other side that often there's the untold or untalked about side. The guy can have all the talent in the world, but is he taking his you-know-what to class?
Why is he leaving the place he leaving? He leaving for a reason. And, you know, everybody's reason is different, but you got to do your research. You got to do your homework with that transfer portal. You've been and took a whole bunch of locker room killers and not guys that want to grow within your program. So we want to build it the right way. We're going to recruit high school, junior college, and some transfers. But they got to be able to fit the culture at Southern University.
Do you like looking down into the D2 ranks as well? Because there's some really good talent in D2, and we've seen Coach Chennis Berry bring some D2 guys up with him over at South Carolina State that found some success.
Definitely, most definitely. One of the guys that played in our secondary, I think it was Jamarius Brown, played well for us, came from D2. So it's not a knock. If a guy can play, he can play. It's just, you know, hey, can he fit what we do and what we're looking for? And, you know, hats off to Coach Chennis Berry. I work with him here at Southern University. He done an excellent job. He brought some of them guys from Benedict up with him, and them guys could play. Even the quarterback, he National Player of the Year. He come from D2.
Yeah, Eric Phoenix.
Yeah. So everybody, you know, I don't like when people try to get caught up into he transferring from here or there. You know, we need to get him, and then, you know, your better player is playing that D2 ball trying to come to you. So we're going to take the best fit for us, the guy that we think is going to help us get to the next level.
I want to look at the Celebration Bowl with you real quick before I get ready to let you go. That South Carolina State offense, Eric Phoenix, Caden Hyde, and so many others, man, they have the explosive players. They have the quarterback that you're talking about wanting the efficiency. What do you think they need to do to be successful today against Jackson State's defense, who you've seen twice so far this year?
Ooh, I don't know if I can. I can't go against the SWAC, man. I can't go against the SWAC, but you just from an offensive mind, you got to establish the run, and you got to be efficient in the passing game. You can't get behind the chains and stuff like that because them guys got a good defense at Jackson as well.
Yeah. I feel you ain't trying to go against the SWAC. And I'm interested with Jackson today because I was talking with Coach Miller. He said, man, you know, we heard all the quarterbacks, and to me, that's going to be the question mark today at quarterback for Jackson State against South Carolina State. And I think that's why you start to see it change with now South Carolina State is the favorite, just barely, though. But I'm looking at where do you go from quarterback because Southern put a hurting on Jacoby and Morgan. Even Zy McDonald at the end of that game, even though he was able to get off and do what he was doing, he was limping around. And Cameron McCoy even had to come in. So they had to go to all three quarterbacks last week. I'm curious to see where that goes today against South Carolina State.
If I'm not mistaken, TC, Coach Taylor, he think he said he's going to start Jacoby and Morgan. So I think he already put it out there. So we got to see if he can hold up.
You know, that's that. You know, coach talk, man. I say anything to throw you off.
I know that's right.
You know that's coach talk, man. But Jalen Woods, man, just real quick, how is he doing as we get ready to get up out of here? I know a lot of people. And as I look back, I'm so curious, you know, and I asked that question. I wonder what it would have been like had Jalen Woods got his shot in that SWAC championship game, because seeing him against UAPB and Grambling seemed like he was getting into his groove. But health-wise, is he good?
He's good. He's good. He wanted to play. But the doctor said he couldn't. So, you know, we got to go with whatever the doctor tells us. And, you know, the kid was hurt. He was crying and stuff. But, hey, you got to suck it up, support your team, man. And, you know, I wish we could have got another shot so he could have came back and played this week, but it just didn't happen that way.
That's right. Next man up. Coach, man, I appreciate you coming on this morning, man, and having conversations. And that's why I wanted to do just talk, to put a bow on the season as we look forward to the offseason now. As you say, get bigger, faster, and stronger. That is the idea for Southern University. As you guys made it to the SWAC Championship, won the SWAC West, wrapped up 7-1 in the conference. Congratulations to you guys. And, hey, and in year one, all we can do is build from that into going to year two, man. So I appreciate you coming on this morning, Coach.
Thank you, man, and I'm glad you brought me on.
And if anybody got some kids out there, do I need to refer them to you, that big bruiser, that quick speed, that quarterback?
Send them to me, Perry. You know how you do it. Just shoot them over. I'm going to evaluate them, and trust me, I'm going to get in touch with them.
Yes, sir. Well, y'all, hey, I got you, Coach. You are. And look, I try to do my thing on the side, but listen, this the man with the plan right here, Southern University offensive coordinator, Mark Frederick. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. Go Jags.
Go Jags. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to take a break. We'll come back, continue the conversation. Stay tuned, more to Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
T.R. Ricks is a fifth-year senior who's getting his first chance to drive the train that Bob talked about. And right now, he's driving it quite well because the Southern Jaguars are kicking butt in the SWAC conference. As Bob mentioned, 6-0 overall in the SWAC, and T.R. Ricks has played so well, over 2,000 yards passing. In the last 3 games running the football, he's been over 100 yards on the ground. The respect factor that he gets from his teammates is incredible. As a fifth-year senior who's never started, they elected him captain. And the numbers he has put up are represented on your screen. 27 total touchdowns on the offense, a pass percentage of nearly 60%. He could be the SWAC Player of the Year on the offensive side.
Best, and they're going to get a huge dose of the best offensive player in the SWAC, and that being Thomas Ricks.
Yeah, what Thomas Ricks has found a way to do is just beat defenses either with his arm, with his feet, or with his leadership capabilities, finding a way to win the games late with fourth quarter comebacks. He showed versatility and athleticism. He's a tremendous athlete that knows how to win, most importantly.
Really is a leader both on and off the field.
I just think it has come to a maturity level. You know, I have a 4-year-old son, and, you know, when he was born, I had to grow up fast and, you know, just staying in school and practicing every day, trying to get better every day, you know, just so he can have a better future. It's just been my inspiration. So, you know, I just think that's my motor that drives me and, you know, keeps me in the game.
His 4-year-old son, Collier, has not missed a game this season. They throw the football around in Rick's dorm room at Southern, and he says it's great playing football with Collier. 1st and 10. Ricks. He's got Vernon. Vernon makes the catch at the 45.
They can run the entire offense with all those guys in the game.
Ricks to Vernon. 1st down. Holmes in the backfield. Ricks. 1st down. Gage on the tackle, but not until Ricks picks up the 1st down. 2nd and 7. Ricks. Overstreet's got it. Across midfield. Ricks. As a receiver downfield. It's caught for a touchdown. Territory. Ricks. Fakes the pitch. Gets inside the 15.
He's in the type of young men that represent his philosophy in life and in football.
Ricks in a shotgun. He's going to run it. Out to the 10, and 2nd and 11 after the holding penalty. Sidearm toss.
All right, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning, everybody. I am Perry White. Glad to have you guys with us. 8:40 a.m. here in Baton Rouge. Glad to have our Facebook, our YouTube, and our radio listeners. We'd like to thank Coach Henry Miller coming on, Southern University defensive coordinator, and Coach Mark Frederick, Southern University offensive coordinator, talking to us about both sides of the ball, room to grow, what can we do to get better, and that both coaches saying we will get better. And listen, if y'all don't know, a lot of you guys may not know, I do a lot of recruiting on the side as well. So I always tell people, if it's talent out there, don't be afraid to send it towards me. I evaluate a lot of it too, and I look at it and I send it towards the coaches and whatever else to try to see what we can do to improve. Because listen, I'm not the guy that just sits here on the radio and can complain and say what we should and shouldn't do. I'm out here. You would think I'm one of the coaches as much as I'm looking at talent and evaluating guys. And I'm watching film, and I'm not just talking about local guys anywhere. I look at film, I'm watching guys, and trust me, I shoot it to the coaches when I see it. And the same way, if there's anybody out there that you guys see that you feel could be some assistance or some type of talent, listen, shoot it to me, inbox me, direct message me, shoot me the huddle, shoot me the grades. And when I get an opportunity, I check the kid out and I pass it along. I do my part. That's all I can tell you. I do my part, and I try. I have conversations with these guys all the time, but the conversations that I have here on the radio aren't the conversations that I have with them. It's the conversations because you guys don't get a chance to talk to them, so I got to ask them the things that you complain about a lot. And I know you complain. I see it on social media. I complain sometime too. So I told Coach Graves I had no problem admitting, hey, I wasn't the biggest fan of the hire at the beginning, but he grew on me. This team started to win games. And he made me a believer. Now, did we just get whooped up on in the SWAC Championship? Yes, we did. Am I excited about that? No, I am not. Would I have liked to be in Atlanta today? Yes, I would. But all we could do is build. It was year one. It was year one. And you had a chance to hear from the coaches themselves. And if you wanted to call in, you could have. But you had the opportunity to hear from the coaches themselves to hear about the program. I'm not going to come on here. I'm not looking for them to do bad just to give me something to talk about every week. That's not what I'm doing here. When it is something, when they lose and something happens, I'm going to come on here and I'm going to criticize them constructively. I'm not here to beat them down to give me something to talk about. Not at all. I'm here to talk about what we saw, how we analyze what we saw, and what we need to do to get better. Because didn't you guys hear that when the season started, when Jim and I was on here talking about that offensive line and how atrocious it was? And guess what? You saw the change start to happen. And I left it alone. And I moved on. I'm not on here to see nobody do bad. I'm not on here hoping for anybody to fail. That is not. I love Southern. That's just, it is what it is. This is the Jaguar Journal. We're going to have tough and honest conversations. And that's why I applaud Coach Frederick for even taking the calls. I normally don't even do that when we have guests on here for them to take outside calls because I can't screen them and I don't know what you're going to say. And he didn't know what you was going to say. But he said, I said, Coach, hey, you willing to take some calls? People call. He said, sure. Why not? So I listen. And I think that's the trust thing that coaches start to have with me because you hear me on the radio. You're going to hear me talk critical when things don't do good. And then you're going to hear me praise you when things do good. I'm on both sides of the spectrum. I'm not here to beat nobody down and take anything away from nobody. We all have our opinions on how we feel when things happen, when hires occur, when things don't go right, and when things go right. I just come on here and have the conversation. Sometimes people like it, sometimes people don't. The most of all, I keep it honest and I keep it real. And I don't have no problem having that conversation of what I have here on the radio to anybody in person. And that's the respect factor I think that has grown with me, because anybody that knows me know, man, I'm an honest guy. I'm genuine. I ain't here to get over, and I'm not here to try to do bad by nobody or the institution. I'm just here to have conversation. And I have them with you guys, with coaches, with administrators, with whoever. I'm just a upstanding guy when it comes to that. I'm not here to beat nobody down and talk bad because I got a narrative or because I got an agenda. Let's get ready to take a break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll close things out more at the Jaguar Journal.
It's On the Yard Sports, and I'm Perry White, and what I need for you to do is go follow and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitter right now.
Talk about offense, we talk about Southern, and it begins with their passing game.
Tom, beyond potent, we're talking about high octane, we're talking about fast break, we're talking about 41 points a game, some 500-plus yards since Terrence Levy has taken over this offense.
Because that young man doesn't drop any ball.
With the legacy that you started here, you got to feel happy to see it continue on with Doug Williams.
Ball now back at the 22-yard line. Levy, no pressure at all. Touchdown, Ingram. The Bayou Classic. Levy on a first and goal play. Throws a touchdown. Grambling comes with a blitz. Levy steps in the pocket, and his pass is caught. One-handed grab.
Sort of in the middle of the road of the SWAC, but immediately they jump on the Jackson State defense. And here's Levy rolling out. And the pass is caught. Ball is at the 31-yard line. Again throwing the football downfield. Oh, and his receiver, Hayes, makes the catch. See you later. Touchdown, Southern. If you're going to get, I got some free tickets. Look out for it, brother. Going downfield. Oh, and what a play by Southern.
Score. He's played a lot tougher ever since. And this is a free play for Southern.
2nd and 15.
It's a free play.
Levy completes his
It's
pass.
a free play.
Oh, and he's still up.
It's a free play.
Hayes is going to continue running inside the 10, the 5. Unbelievable, Michael Hayes. 3rd down. And 23 for a first. Levy over the middle. Nice pass that time. 2nd and 20. Levy doesn't have to get it all, but he's going to have to pick up some yards. Here he is throwing. Nice catch made.
The receiver, Michael Hayes. There he goes.
Hayes makes the catch. Hayes still on his feet. Hayes looking for blocking. Hayes trying to find a hole. Hayes is still on his feet. He alley-oops. He's inside the 15 and drawn out of foul.
Touchdown.
Backfield. Plenty of time for Levy across the middle. Has his man at the 15. You know, I don't know if you want to break the spirit of Terrence Levy or not. Here he wings one wide open down the middle, and a one-handed grab made.
The way. 3rd down in 4. And here's Lewis off the catch. Lewis still on his feet, and Lewis is streaking down the sideline. Touchdown. So they move back 5 yards.
Right, good morning. It's the Jaguar Journal. I'm Perry White. Let's go to the phone lines. Got Chuck. Hey, Chuck, give me something real quick.
Oh, yes. Good morning to you. You were talking about the Superdome Classic. Yes, a lot of talent there on that Superdome turf this week. And I was thinking about one of the schools that's just one state out of my area, Sterlington High School, north of Monroe, Louisiana. Sterlington High won their 3rd state championship. They beat St. James. And they have some talent there. Lee Doty has done a great job. And the first state championship was won with Jason Thompson. And Dale actually built that program. The stadium was named after him. He didn't win a state championship, but he got him to the state for the first time ever. He did that part. But Coach Doty is keeping it. Coach Doty has 2 state championships, but there's talent there. You're talking about those small towns. Haynesville, they lost South Plaquemines the other day, and Oak Grove. Those towns, you're talking about shutting the towns down whenever they go to the state championship. That's the biggest show in town, and sometimes you don't want to miss out on talent in those places. Because one thing about those guys, they're some scrappy ball players, and also they're unselfish as well. I noticed about a lot of those young men when they play, they play well together.
Yes, sir, man. Chuck, appreciate you calling in, man.
All right. You all take care. And tune in to Ruston and Central as well. I'm going to land on that one. Okay.
Thank you. All right, let's look at this Celebration Bowl today. Matchup, Jackson State versus South Carolina State. Looking at these two teams, Jackson State, of course, winners of the SWAC. South Carolina State, winners of the MEAC. Looking at both these ball clubs, Jacoby Morgan, the quarterback for Jackson State, a 2,000-yard pass and 19 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. On the other side, Eric Phoenix, a really good quarterback for South Carolina State. 2,469 passing yards on the season, 20 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. Then you look at the running back position for South Carolina State. Kazarius Adams, he's a junior, 5'8", 188 pounds, small guy, 94 carries on the season for 500 rushing yards and a touchdown. And on the other side, Irv Mulligan, that bad man at Jackson State, the SWAC Offensive Player of the Year at the running back position. 179 carries for 1,168 yards and 11 touchdowns on the season. And then at the wide receivers position, you look at Fort Tillion for Jackson State, 35 receptions, 584 yards, and 9 touchdowns on the other side. Caden High, an explosive ball player for South Carolina State. Very explosive. Somebody to watch out for today. 58 receptions, 192 yards, and 7 touchdowns. He can get you in a return game and whatever else, but Jackson State has their own guy that's explosive as well, and Travis Terrell Jr., number 0. We'll see what South Carolina State even kick it anywhere near him. And one thing I like about Jackson State is special teams, the return game, the kicking game, whatever. They can pin you on the other side of the field and flip the field on you in the punt game. They got a field goal kicker that can kick it anywhere within 50 yards and in. And then on the return game with Travis Terrell, a guy that can bring it at any given time and give them the explosion that they need, whether it's for a touchdown or great field position. You look at both of these teams in their last 5 games, they're all on winning streaks. Of course, South Carolina State wrapped up the season 53-21 over Norfolk State. They've been rested, right, since November the 23rd. Jackson State just wrapped up regular season. Well, not just necessarily regular season, but before this championship, last week in the SWAC Championship, on the 7th, a 41-13 victory over Southern University. Today's ball game is going to be kicked off at 11 a.m., 12 Central, 12 Eastern. I get my Centrals and Eastern. 11 a.m. Central, 12 Eastern. So they're already up. I think somebody said in the comment section, the pregame pep rally or whatever is already underway. The spread is 2.5 in South Carolina State's favor. They're minus 2.5. What y'all think? Who y'all think gonna get this one? Chennis Berry, T.C. Taylor. Chennis Berry, hell of a job in year 1, coming over from Benedict College, giving Benedict in those 2 years he was there the best seasons they ever seen, taking them to the Division II Division II playoffs. And then you look at T.C. Taylor rebuilding last year. He comes back and then runs through conference play. Didn't lose a game this year in the SWAC. Now you got these two coaches, year 1 and year 2, in the Celebration Bowl. I personally, who do I like in today's matchup? I don't know the health of the quarterbacks for Jackson State. I get it. He said they're going to go with Jacoby and Morgan. I know people say SWAC love and all that, but I'm looking at the team. I'm going to go South Carolina State. I think Coach Chennis Berry and Eric Phoenix efficiency. You're going to see a quarterback against this Jackson State defense today. I know Jackson State has a very nasty defense. They get after you. They shut down the run. But you're going to see a quarterback better than any quarterback that Jackson State has seen thus far this year get an opportunity to actually make those plays against that Jackson State secondary. South Carolina State has receivers. They have playmakers all over the place. They played a tough schedule this year as well. So seeing a team like Jackson State is not going to be shell-shocking to them. They played a pretty tough FCS schedule also and got a victory over a pretty tough Tennessee Tech team who also beat Tennessee State, who won a share of the Big South Ohio Valley Conference. I like the matchup. Aside from ULM and Lane College, Jackson State has only seen SWAC opponents. Nothing against that, but South Carolina State is battle-tested. I like them in this matchup. I really do like South Carolina State in this matchup. And I think the difference maker is going to be Eric Phoenix at the quarterback position. His ability to be able to make the throws that you didn't see the quarterbacks in the SWAC against Jackson State make. Jackson's defensive line versus South Carolina State's offensive line. And we all know Chennis Berry, when it comes to an offensive line, he can coach. The trenches is going to be something to watch today. I think there's going to be a really great battle of watching that South Carolina State offensive line take on that Jackson State D-line. And Jackson State is big up front. I'm just here to tell you, Nobles and the rest of those guys are big up front. If I want to circle something to watch today, it's going to be the trenches. Because we know what we know what Coach Chennis Berry is known for. And we've seen what Jackson State is good at. It's going to be a hell of a game. I'm looking forward to the matchup. I think both teams are. And see, the thing about it, why I think it's going to come down to being a great game, I think it's actually going to be a 3-point game. I got this game 27-24, South Carolina State. I think South Carolina State jumps out early. And then Jackson State do what they do best, make it a second half. Jackson State, no doubt about it, is a second half team. Their defense steps up. Their offense make the plays when it's time to make the plays in the second half. I believe that's what happens today. South Carolina State is going to jump out early on Jackson. It's going to look like, ooh. And then Jackson is going to do what they do in the second half, wake up, get back into this thing, and make it a ball game. I got it 27-24. I think it's going to come down to the end of the game. I think South Carolina State maybe wins this off a field goal. That's just me. That's what I'm thinking, though. That's what I'm going to roll with. I'm going to take South Carolina State and Chennis Berry. I think they can get it done. As I'm just thinking right now. I'm kind of all over the place. But I'm going to roll with South Carolina State. 27-21, I think they get it done. I think South Carolina State become your black college national champions today. Otherwise, if it is not, I mean, it's Jackson State. Hey. Should be a good one. Hey, man, thank you guys for tuning in today. For everybody listening on our YouTube channel, man, go hit that subscribe button. It don't matter what you're listening to. Just go over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, become a subscriber today. We are growing. It baffles people to realize that we are a show that covers Southern athletics and that we don't have the support like you see the other schools, the way that they support their people who do their athletics, right? It baffles people. I get it all the time when I'm on somebody else's show. Hey, man, how y'all don't have the viewership and the subscribers? It baffles them, and it baffles me. I get on here, man. We bring you good content. I bring you coaches, administration. We got to support this show. This is what we hard for. This is the Jaguar Journal. Give me another show that's giving you this. And it doesn't seem programmed. This is not programmed. This is off the hip. It is whatever you want it to be. And you get a chance to chime in and call in as well. You get to comment. You get to do all of that. So, hit that subscribe button, man. Let's get our subscribers. Let's get our support up, man. We're not doing this in vain, man. I'm out here covering Southern for you guys. Mike out here doing the Lord's work behind the scenes. And we're doing our thing to bring you the best coverage we can for Southern. Jackson got their people. Bama State got their people. We got our people. Hit that subscribe button, okay? And thank you to everybody that's out there listening on 107.3 FM. I appreciate you guys on the radio because we are actually a radio show first and then everything else second. So everybody that tunes in to our listening to us on 107.3, I appreciate you. And everybody on our Facebook. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. It is Christmas coming up. Hey, and thank you for everybody who gave to me on my birthday to my Cash App. If you didn't, it's $PWhite1210. I appreciate you guys for those who did take care of me and buy me a drink. And for the rest of you, I love you. I hope you have a great week. And if the man says the same, I'll be back next week at the same time, the same place. Because always, it's the Jaguar Journal. Have a good one. What's going on, everybody? I am Perry White. I'm the host of the Jaguar Journal. I want to make sure that you guys tune in live each and every Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on 107.3 FM. We also have our affiliates in Alexandria, Louisiana, as well as down in New Orleans. And if you're not able to catch us on radio live, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as follow us on Facebook. It's the Jaguar Journal.